Next we'll see the dynamic storage allocation problem. Means here if we have the number of free holes, so how to accommodate the request. So here there are again different strategies which you can employ, and mainly the strategies are the first fit, best fit and worst fit. In first fit is going to allocate the first hole that is big enough. Means here whatever the available free holes are there, it will go on scanning the holes, and it will find a first hole that is sufficient to satisfy the present request. The next one is best fit. It allocates the smallest hole that is big enough. Means here it is going to scan all the available free holes, and it will find a smallest hole which is going to satisfy the present request. The third strategy is worst fit. So it will find the largest hole, and that will be allocated for the requesting process. So next we'll see one example to understand the strategies. So let us consider we have the 5 memory partitions of size 100 KB, 500 KB, 200 KB, 300 KB and 600 KB in order. So how would the first fit, best fit and worst fit algorithms place the processes of 212 KB, 417 KB, 112 KB and 426 KB in order? So after that we have to check which algorithm makes the most efficient use of the memory. So let us see how these processes, we have 4 processes here of the given sizes, and we have 5 free memory partitions, free holes. So whenever a request comes for these processes, based on a particular strategy, how it is going to satisfy the request of processes. So let us see this one by one. So first we'll consider the first fit. So in the first fit we know that it will go on scanning the free partitions, and it will select a memory partition which is able to satisfy the process request, the first partition. So here the first process is of size 212 KB. So it will go on scanning the partitions. The first partition is 100 KB, so this cannot be satisfied. After that the next partition is 500 KB, so this is larger than the memory. So that's why here 212K process is put in the 500K partition. So here whenever it puts this 212K process in 500K partition, so again the remaining block will be made available to the next processes, that is here it is 278K. So after that the next process is 417 KB. So again in the first fit it will go on searching from the first memory partition. So it is 100 KB, so it is 278 after subtracting 212 KB. So the third one is 200 KB, fourth one is 300 KB and fifth one is 600 KB. So out of this only the 600 KB can satisfy this request of 417 KB. So that's why this 417K is put in 600K partition. So after allocating the 600K 417K in 600K, so whatever the remaining memory is there, so that will be made available for the next process again. So after 417 the next one is 112. So again it will go on searching. The first one is 100 KB, this cannot be satisfied. The second one is out of 500 KB 212 KB is already put, so the remaining is 288 KB. So here already 288 KB is there, so requirement is 112 KB. So hence this 112 KB is put in 288 KB or 288K partition. So after that here the next process is 426 KB. So for this again it will search the memory partitions. The first one is 100 KB, not sufficient. The second one is out of 500 KB, so whatever the requirement was there, so that was satisfied by these two processes. So the remaining will not be able to satisfy this 426. The 200 KB less than 426, 300 KB less than 426, and out of 600 KB already 417 KB is allocated. So hardly around 183 KB will be available. So that's why here presently there is no any free memory partition which can satisfy the 426 KB. So that's why the 426 K will be in the waiting state. So in this way, this first fit strategy can be used in order to uh, allocate the requested partitions to the processes. The next we'll see the best fit. Best fit means it will go on scanning the particular memory partitions, and it will identify the best suitable, that is the smallest partition which can satisfy that request, and that will be allocated. So let us see by this best fit how it is going to carry out. So the first process is 212 KB. So it will scan all the processes, that is all the partitions, that is 100 KB, 500 KB, 200 KB, 300 KB and 600 KB. So out of this 100 KB cannot satisfy, but 500 KB can satisfy the requirement, 300 KB can satisfy the requirement, and 600 KB can satisfy the requirement. Out of this 500, 300 and 600, which is the smallest? 300 KB is smallest. So that's why this 212K is put in 300K partition. So in this way the best fit will work. So the next process is 417. So again it will scan the partitions. The first one is 100K, not sufficient. Second one is 500K, it is sufficient. Third one is 200K, not sufficient. Fourth one is 300K, not sufficient. And last one is 600K. Means for this 417 we have two partitions which can satisfy the request, that is 500 KB and 600 KB. But out of this 500 KB and 600 KB, which is the smallest? 500 KB. So that's why this 417K is put in 500K partition. So in the same way, again in the next iteration, this 100K is put in 200K partition and 426K is put in 600K partition. So in this way this best fit will work. So next we'll see how the worst fit will work. So in the worst fit, what it will do, it will search for a partition which is of largest size, and that will be allocated first. So if you just look at the present available partitions, the largest one is 600K. So that's why for the first process, that is of 212K, the 600K partition will be allocated. So similarly, next to this 600K, 500K is largest. So for the next request, that is 417K, 500K is allocated. So next to 500K, the available is 388K, because after subtracting 212 from 600K, the 388K partition is remaining. So this 112 is allocated the 388K. So as a result, this 426K must wait, because presently it will not be having the memory partition which can satisfy this 426K. So that's why here we saw all the three strategies, and based on this we came to the conclusion that the best fit turns out to be the best strategy here. So in this way these strategies can be used. So next we'll see the fragmentation. So what is fragmentation? Already we know the dividing a particular memory into the number of smaller memory segments. Okay, so here we know that as a process loaded and removed from the memory, the free space is broken into the little pieces. So this is nothing but the fragmentation. So again the fragmentation may be external fragmentation or the internal fragmentation. External fragmentation means the total memory space exists to satisfy a request, but it is not contiguous. And internal fragmentation means the allocated memory may be slightly larger than the requested memory. This size difference is memory internal to a partition but not being used. So usually in external fragmentation, uh, when there is enough total memory space to satisfy a request but the available spaces are not contiguous, the storage is fragmented into a larger number of small holes. This fragmentation is may create the problems, because here the larger amount of memory will be wasted. So that's why to reduce the external fragmentation, so we have an approach called the compaction. So what is this compaction? So it's very simple. So it promotes the shuffling of memory contents to place all free memory together in one larger block. But this compaction is possible only if the relocation is dynamic and is done at execution time. So that's why we have one more possible solution for this external fragmentation, that is nothing but the non-contiguous memory. So next we'll see the non-contiguous memory allocation, so which is nothing but a paging. So what exactly this paging is? So paging is a memory management scheme that permits the physical address space of a process to be non-contiguous. So paging avoids external fragmentation and the need for the compaction. So this already we saw. So it also solves the considerable problem of fitting memory chunks of varying sizes into the backing store. So here the logical address space of a process can be non-contiguous. The process is allocated physical memory whenever the latter is available. So divide the physical memory into the fixed size blocks called the frames, and the logical memory is divided into the pages. Okay, means here when we divide the physical memory into blocks, these are called as frames. When you divide logical memory into blocks, these are called as pages. So you have to keep track of all the free frames, and to run a program of size n pages, we need to find the n free frames and load the program. So we have to set up a page table to translate the logical to physical addresses, and we have to carry out the internal fragmentation also. So how exactly this address translation scheme will work? So the address generated by a CPU, which is a logical address, so that will be divided into the two parts, the page number, that is P, and page offset, that is T. So page number, it is used as an index into a page table which contains base address of each page in the physical memory, whereas page offset D is combined with base address to define the physical memory address that is sent to the memory unit. So that's why here we can see a particular address is divided into the two parts, that is page number P and page offset D. So for a given logical address space of 2 raised to m and page size 2 raised to n, the page number is the value m minus n and page offset is the value n. So next we'll see the hardware support for paging. So how exactly the paging can be used? So here in this figure it is very clear that, so whatever the address that is generated by the CPU, we know that it is the logical address, and as per our previous discussion, the logical address is divided into two parts, that is page number P and page offset T. So here this page number will act as an index to the page table. So here you can see this P will tell you the exact location of the frame to be loaded. So similarly here the logical address, this D is used for the calculation of the physical address after identifying the frame, and that will be used to locate the physical memory. So in this way this logical address can be